All right, welcome everybody. Happy New Year. Happy 2021. Can you guys believe it? I can't believe it. My name is Brian Hartman, and I am partners in Pharus Global, our ecosystem. We like to say we help businesses from the cradle all the way to the grave or the exit strategy, which makes it sound a little bit better. Today we are doing episode 17 of Live at 5. We're at Pharus Global here at 1859 Southeast Port St. Lucie Boulevard in Port St. Lucie. Please feel free to stop by. We got some great coffee and sometimes occasionally even donuts every now and then. Today we are very privileged to have two fantastic gentlemen. One that does IT, specialty is IT, and the other is specialty in marketing. And today we have Chris Murray and Angel Moncada. Looks like we got you back, right, Angel? You back with us? Welcome to the show, you guys. Appreciate you being here today.
Hello, thank you for having us.
So you guys have been the dynamic duo between IT and marketing. I know that you've both been doing it for a long time. So why don't we start off by Angel? Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you wound up getting to where we are today?
Well, it's a long story, so I'll make it short. I come from a military background, and interesting enough, I did logistics in the military, and IT was not something that really was in my, forefront of thoughts and anything like that. And my wife just reminded me the other day, the reason I liked it is I guess I bought a computer and I started tearing it apart, and that's what started it. And I think I actually started punching it before I started.
I know the feeling. I still do that today.
So I got frustrated with the darn thing. I remember still with HP Hewlett Packard, and that sparked the whole thing. It was slow. It was dial-up at that time, so what can you expect? But eventually, that led to other opportunities. Working for the government, did a lot of government contracting after the military, and worked for Lockheed Martin. Did some really good training for soldiers in the military prior to deployment, and then did some work for the Department of the Army, not as a contract, but as a GS employee, and ended up in Florida. It probably was there about 10 years. And now I run an IT department at a sheriff's office. I'm the IT director. And on top of that, I realized that there was a lot of need for enterprise level services and products and solutions across the spectrum, not just at the enterprise level, but at the lower, mid range, even just one person business. Everybody needs good technology to be able to do business the right way and continuity and all that good stuff.
Right.
So that has been what I've been doing for the past probably 15 years, providing kind of services for businesses aside from doing IT regularly, right. And been very successful at it. So thank you, Jesus, for that.
Ever since you said dial-up, I can't get that noise out of my head. The
AOL connection. Yeah. We should have a little audio recording of that so people can get some flashbacks. There'll probably be people punching their laptop thinking they got dial-up back.
Yeah, that would be pretty funny. That would be great. Appreciate you being here. I know we're going to be talking a lot about some top technology principles for today, and also the other half of the dynamic duo. We have with us today Chris Murray. You've been in marketing for quite some time, and why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're up to, how you started, and how you got to today.
Hey, how you guys doing? So I got into marketing really from art. I have a strong art background. I've been drawing ever since I was like 7 years old. So I pursued art when I went to community college, but for some reason I ended up taking one marketing class just out of curiosity. It could have been just like an elective or something. And I became interested in just all aspects of marketing strategy, consumer behavior. So I did that and thought it was just really cool. Then I went off to the University of Central Florida to pursue art, and then I didn't really like that track, and then ended up changing my entire career major to marketing. So I ended up pursuing that and getting a degree from the University of Central Florida in marketing, and just been interested ever since, doing branding, logo design, and now, getting into, digital marketing. When I was in school, obviously it was a lot different. YouTube wasn't even, YouTube had just come out. Facebook had literally just came out. So, and no one really understood these platforms then. They were completely different. And then what they are now, but, as they say, the streets finds its uses. So people have then turned the platform into, kind of like marketing machines and ways to connect with people. I mean, at the time, it was just a way it was like cool little rooms to be in. But traditional marketing was, TV advertising, print, things like that. But, now that those old models have they haven't died down, but things are just a lot more fragmented now. Businesses have to be a lot more resourceful on how they spend their marketing dollars. But one of the benefits now with the platform is that the amount of information and data they're able to get. So you're able to be a lot more targeted towards your audience. You can be very specific on who you want to reach, how to reach them, and communicate directly with them. So, that's kind of what I do now is just marketing using the platforms that, we have available.
So interesting enough there, Brian. I think that's kind of where the topic for today, I think, was really important. Is, you're talking about all these marketing strategies and all this different ways to target specific audiences and so forth and so on. And Chris hit nail on the head on all the capabilities that technology enables to do now. Artificial intelligence, analytics, all the different components that works in the background. Which is interesting to me. Always been interesting to me. How people, one of my old bosses taught me this. People think of IT as the mouse, keyboard, and monitor. That's IT for a lot of 99% of the people in the corporate world or anywhere really. But the people that run the things in the background, like Chris, I'm pretty sure, people think that he just comes up magically with all these advertisement capabilities and all these beautiful, ads and all this stuff. And, there's more to it than that. There's work to be done. There's research to be done. And so that's where technology and marketing, they tie hand in hand and work so strongly to be able to deliver extremely potential, really reliable, resourceful tools to reach the audience.
I totally agree, and I think that does get lost in the shuffle sometimes. That's why I was so excited to have both of you on at the same time, because to me, you can't have marketing without IT, and probably vice versa. So it's nice to be able to talk about both and how they are intertwined, right?
Yep.
So I'm excited to jump in here. So I've got a few questions, but before we do that, just so everybody is aware that is watching, whether on Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube, if you have questions for Angel or Chris or myself, or just want to say hi, just drop them in the comments, and we won't post them for too long to make fun of you, and we'll be able to answer the questions hopefully too as we go through them. So if you're watching, just drop us a little note and we'll get to that. So let's jump in. You guys ready?
Yes.
Let's go.
Awesome. I'm excited. So starting with IT, information technology. So Angel, what are the biggest threats that businesses face concerning information technology today? So
that's fun. That's actually, I laugh because people think it's all these different cyber attacks and these infiltrations and Trojan horses and you name it, right? All these dark web and all this stuff that it is dangerous, right? It is what's causing a lot of the heartache.
Yep.
But in reality, it's not the number one, what I consider to be the most dangerous thing that a business or a person has to deal with when it comes down to security or anything of that sort. It's actually you and I. to give you an example.
Hey, you mean me? It's me.
You, the user.
I knew it.
It's not. It's people think that it's the actual computers. It's a technology. No, it's not. Technology only does what we tell it to do.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Technology only does what we are asking it to perform. And so unless you're using AI, which very, very few are, and even then, you're programming something, right? So most of the times what I've seen in the industry and in technology overall, in any aspect, by the way, I don't care what industry you're in, if you're in the medical, if you're in the construction, if you're in the accounting, if you're in the cybersecurity industry, if you're in the IT, the problems do not come from the technology. At least most of the time. There are some bugs and some issues, but even those bugs come from people. Somebody has to program that technology. Look at, for example, SolarWinds. We just had a huge news report, right, of all these big agencies that were attacked, and I can tell you the story about ours because we actually use that. Most businesses that do technology use SolarWinds. It's really well known. But it wasn't the software that really caused the problem. It was the updates. It came back from the root. Well, somebody programmed those updates. A human being was involved in that. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it falls back on this guy. Right?
I want to show you something real quick. You guys all know Hala Shalhoub, right?
Yep.
She is watching us right now, and look what she's saying in the comments. It's definitely Brian.
Yes, Hala, you're absolutely right. It's him. No,
Thanks
it's yep. It's the confidence, man. No, but it's true. That's the biggest problem that we face in anything that has to do with technology. It's the user, because lack of knowledge causes problems. When you don't know, you don't know. And when you don't know something, it's open to pretty much anything, right? The possibilities are anything. Give you a perfect example. If you don't ever conduct any type of security training for your staff or yourself, if you don't educate yourself on what the risks are, why do I need to double authenticate logging into something, my bank, or my email or anything like that, right? Why do I need to secure that it's trusted only from this device and all those different things? Our laziness causes another threat for ourselves because we don't want to create more work for us, right? Well, technology is not there yet. I know we all want to be in the Star Wars or the Star Trek era already, but we're getting pretty darn close to. We're getting pretty darn close, but we're not there yet. So we have to educate ourselves. We have to educate staff. We have to train personnel, and there's plenty of services that we provide and many others provide, where you deliver security awareness training. That should be done at least annually, where individuals are informed and they are even tested. There's organizations now that even allow you to test them to see if they would fall into a phishing attack, for example, which has become one of the largest ways of attacking any organization.
That's when you go like this. And
you get some fishing line, right? Get a hook. Okay. You throw it in there and you get them. Yep, that's like that. Exactly. But it's funny you say that, because if you think about it, it's a bait, right? That's why they call it phishing attack. It's a bait. They want to see who bites the bait. And if it didn't work, fishes would never be fished. So it works, right? Yep. It just has to be that right little thing dangling, shiny little thing that says, "Hey, it's me." Click me, right? It has to be something that they trust. Right? A fish knows that if it's a worm or if it looks shiny, they think that, oh, it's food. Well, we're the same exact way. We're no different. We think we're smarter. We're not. Right. Sometimes I'm scared about that, but we fall for the simplest tricks. Sometimes we fall for the complicated ones, and I'm going to give you an example of one, and I'll shut up because I can talk all day. So I had a colleague, and I'm not going to mention names or any of that stuff, but I'm going to give you examples of me personally. Now, I've been doing IT for quite a while. Mm-hmm. The difference is that I can catch it. One of the things that you say, you catch the bullet midair. Thank God I caught that bullet midair. So I received an email from a trusted source. That's the worst, because you're counting on that person being legit.
Right.
Okay. And I always tell my users, if you weren't expecting it, then don't open it.
Yeah.
That's the first rule. If you weren't expecting it, don't open it. Right.
Right.
If you trust the person, validate that it was them, because again, if you weren't expecting it, if somebody sends you a request for something that looks suspicious, more than likely it's not them.
Mhm.
Right. Especially when it comes to money, passwords, asking you to do something.
Yes.
You always want to call and say, hey, I saw your email. You said to send this person. Yep, that's good. It's good to go. You have a voice to voice. It's hard to fake somebody's voice, even though it's available now, right? This person sent me an email in reference to a contract that was available so that we could partner up, right? And they're in the construction industry, and they were bidding on a contract. So to me, it made sense, right? I knew the person, I knew the organization, and they were looking for someone to partner up in the IT side.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, okay, this is legit. So it gave a link. And again, it's one of those things that we're so busy in this world that if we just don't take a minute to just think about what we're about to do, it can happen to anybody, right? It happened to me. So they said, here's the contract bid information, go ahead and download it from OneDrive.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, cool. It's kind of common. So I go in and it asks me for my password. I put it in. Now, mind you, I've been doing IT, right? But you know how when you mess up so bad that you're like, the minute you do it, you're like, for example, you know how when you're speeding down the highway and all of a sudden you pass the cop and you're like, okay, I'm done. I already know I'm going 20 over. I'm getting pulled over. There's no way this guy's letting me go, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly the feeling that I got. As soon as I hit enter, I'm going, oh.
Yeah.
But I caught it midair. So immediately I went, changed my passwords, make sure that nothing was, nothing was compromised, and immediately, stopped everything, right?
Yeah.
So 2FAs and, all the different features that you can enable to secure, you can enable all that. But most people don't recognize that.
Right.
Right. I've had instances where, finance individuals were asked for their banking information, a login, right? When the organization doesn't receive transfers.
Mm-hmm.
And they were asking to put their information for transfer information. And I'm like, but you never receive transfer. That's not the type of business you are. So those are the kind of things that can happen in an organization. Yeah. And there's tools to prevent that, right? Training, awareness, testing, monitoring. There's multiple levers to prevent certain, a lot of things from happening. Yeah. So users, the answer is users.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because I came from the banking industry, and the banks are getting a little bit wiser too about the training part of it. So they would actually send test emails, and test people to make sure.
You have to nowadays.
Yeah. Okay, so how should businesses be educating their teams to be more tech friendly?
Security awareness training, like I mentioned. There is different levels for different people, right? So depending on what kind of level that person has, or what kind of access that person has, right? In the government sector, for example, depending on what type of access you have, and I'm talking about from law enforcement to DOD to military to anything. There's different levels for different capabilities or access that you have. So the biggest thing is to be able to identify who has the access, and then based on that access, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's organizations out there that do this for a living, and plenty of them, right? We provide that service as well, but you pretty much deliver it based on what that access is, and based on what that access is how thorough the training needs to be. And so that's one of the key things to do. And then, like as we mentioned, testing. You want to see if they are actually going to fall for it, right? I've seen documentary, or not documentary, but interviews where someone live got on the phone and literally through a phishing attack can be anything. It can be voice, it can be email, it can be anywhere, right? They got this person to give them access to a computer inside the company. and it was just over the phone. These guys, these individuals are such good actors that they talk to you like they work within the organization. You also have a technology that's called spoofing, right? Where you can actually call from your cell phone and make it seem that you're calling from inside the company.
Wow.
Right? It's happened to countless individuals. So that's why sometimes I'm not sure if you've seen how there's been reports of people saying that they're getting calls from friends from their cell phone, and it's like a marketing a campaign or something that they're not marketing, but telemarketing. Somebody trying to sell them something, right? Spam.
Yeah.
They spoof the number, and it's really easy. I mean, there's apps for it, right? So training, testing, monitoring. I mean, you can get so granular that you can track every individual keystroke, right? And when something doesn't add up, again, using analytics, using AI, using technology, there's certain flags that go up that can be sent automatically and say, hey, analyze this because this doesn't look right. And based on algorithms, based on different technologies that are available, you're able to narrow down what really is at the top and say, hey, this doesn't look right. And again, that's probably the best and fastest way to begin, but there's more to it than that.
All right. No, I like it. That's at least a starting point.
Yep.
So I'm going to say the phrase that everybody can't stand hearing about anymore, but what did COVID teach businesses about the importance of tech solutions?
I laugh because I think that even restaurants, that you wouldn't think technology per se has a role to play, right? Because they cook, right? You come in, you buy something, you sell it, and you leave, right?
Right.
But technology played a huge role in that. It's called Uber Eats. It's called DoorDash. It's called there you go. All the different apps that enabled restaurants to be able to connect with consumers throughout the world. Right. So what COVID taught everyone is that technology can be used to continue productivity, continue business, continue your organization. You don't have to stop. Perfect example is we're having an organization, Pharus Group, for example. We went live SharePoint. I think it was 2 weeks pre-COVID, right?
Just by the skin of our teeth.
and I hope Chris is watching, because I remember we talked about it. Like, Chris, we gotta go online. We gotta go Teams. We gotta go do this. We gotta do that, right? And he eventually said, Angel, you're right. Let's go for it. Not unaware, none of us were really even. COVID was not on the map yet. It wasn't even thought about.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks after we kind of, I think we were already going. We finished. We were already going. 2 weeks, COVID hits. Everybody shuts down.
Yep.
And so it was a learning curve, right? Because nobody had ever done 100% remote work.
Nope.
But we were able to successfully continue to perform our jobs without missing a beat.
We are extremely grateful that we had you on the team.
Praise God. Thank you, Jesus, for that. I'm telling you, it would have been drastically bad.
Yeah.
Right. So COVID taught organizations about remote work, right? Most businesses weren't even considering it, right? COVID taught mobility, right? You don't have to be in an office, inside a building to do that.
Yeah.
It taught them that they can save money by using technology. Some businesses to realize that.
Yeah.
Some of the things that communications was key to continue, business continuity. Planning for a disaster, that's another big one. If you were still stuck with having that one hard drive in your office that had all the files, and then the government shuts down and you got to go work from home, you're stuck.
Right.
You know what I mean? Unless you were mission essential, and depending on what state you were in, the risk, you had a risk. So It taught them all the mobility, the communication technology that can be used, Teams, WebEx, Zoom, you name it. There was plenty of them out there.
Even StreamYard that we're on right now.
Look at that. Being able to collaboration, remote collaboration was a big one, because you don't have to be inside an office with a group of people to get the job done, right? I think one of the biggest things that probably hasn't come up is being able to produce work. And what I mean by that is, if you have somebody working remotely, if you don't have a system in place that provides them with the tasks that they should be performing on a day-to-day basis, whether it's a help desk system or a task manager or any of those, project management, any of that stuff, technology can enable you to do that, right? So that you don't have people, sitting at home going like this all day long, twiddling their thumbs. You have someone that can actually, get work done, right? You had, I've worked with Cisco. I work with all these organizations that provide, equipment for us and things like that and solutions. And you could hear they were working from home. I hear dogs barking in the back. I've even heard roosters, believe it or not. But they got the job done.
Right.
When I needed something, we called them in and we say, hey, we're looking for this and this and that, and they delivered. They provided what we needed. So sadly enough, I did have an organization that was slow to respond, and I don't want to name them because I don't want to put them in the bad spot. But we were looking for a solution for a school, and yet they did not respond on time. It was like you couldn't get an answer from them, and they're a communications company. Wow. And by the way, it's not a big one, and I'm just going to say it's a conferencing solution. So I'm like, wait a minute, you're in the tech world, and I need answers about technology that I'm trying to purchase from you, and it's just taking time to get it done. And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense, right? Education was a big one. We actually did a project for a school where they needed to be able to do training from online training for their students. But the thing that I don't like about what's happening right now is, for example, my kids, I have 3 kids, they're going online schooling, and they love it, by the way. So people are saying, oh, kids can't do it. No, they can't. The difference is that my wife and I, we get involved. And I think that's the biggest problem. It's not the kids. And, my kids have to do it with a webcam, right? Which I understand when you're the receiving end. But when it's a teacher, I should be able to see the teacher go to the board, be able to, just as if I'm sitting in my classroom. Yeah. And so Morningside Academy, actually, they're pretty cutting edge in what they're doing. They're actually doing pretty much university level training, because they actually have a PTZ camera that has controls that they can put and direct towards the board. If the teacher wants to go to the board and put something on the board for the students, it can put it towards the screen if they want to put it on the screen.
That's great.
It can put it towards them. So the camera moves with them. And the teachers are able to walk around with a Bluetooth headset and talk to the students, live. And so they're not interrupting the class in the classroom, and they're not interrupting the class off the classroom. Yeah. That to me is more effective technology. And those are the things that the COVID has taught, that you don't have to literally be physically there to get the job done. You can get it done through technology.
Awesome. So the next question kind of ties in. Hala just mentioned that she's been busier than she's ever been because of IT.
Thank you.
And even internationally.
Oh, wow. Praise God. Good.
So, and that's because you guys have been all working together with them in the medical practice. So, it's been working out well, which leads into our next question. How can cloud and remote solutions benefit businesses?
Oh, man. How can they not? Right? The problem is, I think that sometimes we jump into technology without knowing enough about it. That's why I work with a team of experts, Chris being one of them, you being one of them, people that I know I can trust in delivering the right solutions and right questions. Because I don't have all the answers. I can tell you that much right now. If somebody tells you that, oh, they have the perfect solution, they're lying to you. Just stop. They have a good solution, yes, but the perfect solution doesn't exist, right? Because there's always going to be little problems that come with it.
Right.
But cloud solutions have enabled all the different things that we've just talked about. they have enabled security, they have enabled collaboration, they have enabled management, they have enabled conferencing, they have enabled distant learning. They can benefit from it. First, doing your research, doing an analysis of what you want to accomplish. I think that's one of the big things that we don't do, which we pride ourselves in. One of the things that we like to do with a business is we just don't look. I don't mean to sound like I don't want to make money. Everybody wants to make money, right? I mean, we have to live, we have to survive. But I'd rather do a job the right way so that the consumer, the business, whoever is receiving it, benefits the most of it. Return on investment is one of my critical points.
Right.
In order for you to get that return on investment, you should do an analysis of your business. What is your business about? What are your shortcomings? What is your issues that you're facing? What are you trying to accomplish with technology? And study that, right? That's one of the things that we love to do with business. I like to sit down with business owners, my guys, and be able to, pick their brain. What do you do? How do you do it? What is your problems? Where are your pains? And then how can we help, right? And then without all that information, we gather it and we swallow it in. And then we begin to look at different solutions of, okay, this can work for that can work for that. And then we deliver a full package saying, hey, this is what cloud solutions can do for you. One of the ones we love to use, which is a big part of the market, is Office 365. It's a great product.
Yeah.
We Pharus Group uses. We use it in our company. We use it with Teams. We use it with SharePoint. We use it with OneDrive.
Yeah.
We use it with backups. If you didn't know, for example, OneDrive can back up your desktop. Just a little hint for somebody out there that didn't know that. Can back up your documents, desktop files.
When you
a picture to video.
When you came and joined us, right? Do you remember where our files were?
Do I? Yeah.
I couldn't access somebody else's files in our own company because it was only on their computer, on their hard drive. And it was like an eye opener. Like I went, wow, OneDrive. Now I could access it anywhere. How cool is that?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So it really gives you flexibility. It really gives you flexibility to plan ahead, be able to prepare, because I'll be honest with you, this is my personal opinion, and my professional opinion in a way. We're not going back, so for those that think that, everything's going back to normal, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but we're not going back. What COVID did, it pushed us 10 years ahead. So what we were supposed to be looking at in 10 years, COVID actually did for us. So it can be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, right? If you do the right research, you got the right team, you got the right company, the right product, you can be very successful with what you're using.
Yeah.
It's when you just put something in place because you're so, you're in a bad position, you need something done, and you don't contact the right team or you don't find the right solution, and you put something out there and nobody's using it. So it's like, oh man, like nobody's using it. So you got to put it to practice. You have to use it.
Absolutely. So Chris has been sitting there chomping at the bit. He's ready.
He's got a lot.
And, I think this next question really puts it all together. But what's the connection between technology and marketing? And no offense, but IT is really important, but everybody loves marketing, right? So what's the connection between technology and marketing? And maybe both of you can answer that question.
Yeah, if you want to go ahead and start it off, because
I think
I know things like hosting and things like that are important.
Yeah, I think that we kind of already been touching on it a little bit, just not directly to marketing, but in reference to the connection with technology and marketing, I can reach a larger margin, a larger market with technology than I can do with a billboard. I can do with a paper ad. I can do with a commercial. Well, not say commercial. Commercial is still probably one of the stronger ones. But, I'm not watching TV all day, but I'm on this thing all day long.
Yep.
Right? So when I'm following someone, for example, when I am connected to a team on LinkedIn, when I'm part of a Facebook group, when I am on Twitter, when I'm on Instagram, when I'm on TikTok, which has become very powerful. Let's not talk about elections. So, it's technology enables marketing to become probably 10, 20, 40, 50, 100 times more effective than what you would with any of the other traditional marketing tools. Not to say that those tools are not effective, because they are, but it broadened the opportunities, right? And the best thing about digital marketing, the cost. You cannot put value on that.
Right.
I remember I called a billboard company that had one of those digital signs, and if I remember correctly, I think they wanted, like, I want to say $4,000 or $5,000 a month.
Right.
If I take those $5,000 and invest it into digital marketing, the reach that I would have and the return on investment would be extra. It would just be too much, right? So I think that's one of the best tools that we've been able to team up with.
Yeah.
Marketing and technology, and enables it to become more powerful.
And I agree. I'll jump in and say, it's basically democratized everything and allowed, these tools to be available for basically the small guy. You know what I mean? In order to pay for a television advertiser back then, you had to be, to get an ad spot for, like, America's Got Talent back in the days, you had to spend crazy bucks to get that kind of reach. Video production was another one. You had to have a big studio, this and that. But now all these tools are available for us. Your cell phone. Everyone now is part of the AV club, basically. You know what I mean? You can shoot video, photo, you can market it, you can distribute it, all within your cell phone. So, back in the days, all that stuff was impossible. So now that we have all the stuff, we now have control. It's kind of good and bad. It's good because now you have control, but it's also a challenge because now you also have to learn how to do some of this stuff as well. You know what I mean? And not everybody is, a video director or knows even how to take good photo. You know what I mean? Some of these tools, filters and stuff can help, but if you want to produce good quality stuff, you have to, learn. But that's another good thing too, is, also, the education is also there as well. So that's kind of what technology has done. But it also has allowed us to communicate with each other directly. Look at what we're doing now. This is incredible. Being able to reach so many people, probably all over the world is absolutely amazing. Things that, we couldn't do before. This is basically, YouTube and these kind of revolutions are about the equivalent of, the printing press back in the days. You know what I mean? It kind of revolutionized, who has access to education, connection, tools to just do things. You know what I mean? Everyone can. It basically brings kind of everyone on the same level now, as opposed to only the elite are able to access this stuff. So that's kind of what the tools have done. That's kind of how technology, the benefits of technology. Having a website, being on Facebook platform. Also, everyone can basically have a digital footprint. Everyone can have an online presence. You know what I mean? Everyone can kind of get their 15 minutes to shine, if you know what I mean. Everyone can kind of put themselves out there and create a sort of online persona. You know what I mean? And that's awesome if you're a business, a brand, an artist. It's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. It's changed the game. So yeah, that's one of the ways I think technology and marketing, can come together.
I think the one of the best ways to, in my mind, that I'm thinking of how to explain how they go together is going back to that dial-up with that, that screech thing, right? And trying to stream a movie on it.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, broadband access is so fast now. I remember it's funny, I remember the first YouTube video I tried to watch in college. I was searching for a music artist or a music producer, and that video took so long to upload. It probably took an hour or two just to watch it, like a
3-minute video.
Yeah. So, but I sat there and waited because I had never seen video on the computer before. It was pretty amazing. But I sat there watching. That was the beginning. But now things have only gotten faster. You can I mean, now you can upload an entire hour worth of content. Now we can stream live, which is incredible. I mean, honestly, I mean, you can get to a point where you can create your own television broadcasts, and that's what people are doing. They go live. I mean, I'd be surprised to get to a point where, you know, the NBA doesn't just say, you know what, let's forget about the broadband TV and let's just stream it live and give the players control again. I don't know, but I mean, the power of the technology is it's amazing. It really is.
I hope TV is not watching us right now. They're going to be mad.
I'm sure people have thought about it.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, it already kind of is happening. So I recently subscribed to YouTube TV, and I'll be honest with you. I'm really happy with it. You know, except for the Fox Sun, which I don't know why they don't show the Heat games, but maybe they get a hint after this. But you know, they really. I'm mobile again. Technology. I'm mobile. I can watch my channels and record unlimited recording. On that. I can watch YouTube, for example, when when Wonder Woman came out. You know, we subscribed to HBO Max
ahead of time,
and right? Boom, we watched it the same day it came out. You know, it was great. Yeah. So, you know, every industry really has been impacted. You know, and NBA was a perfect example of how technology it was so powerful. You know, they used technology to make it seem like they had fans. You know, Microsoft Teams had a picture of people that had purchased their tickets, right? And you saw all those frames in the back. So again, it was all technology. You know, so you know, as bad as or as much as people complain about it, if we didn't have it, we would be drastically different. Let's just say.
Yeah, there's just a learning curve. There's a learning curve to it that, you know, people are apprehensive about. You know, sometimes it can seem complicated because there's so many tools out there, so much things to learn. So that goes what causes some people to be apprehensive. But you know, once you get it, but the thing is, you have to stay up on it. Otherwise, you're going to be left behind. You know, as the world is becoming more, you know, complex with technology. You know, those jobs and things like that are, you know, you have to just be on top of that stuff. Otherwise, you could literally, you know, become ignorant out of a job and out of, you know what I mean, a labor force if you don't stay on top of what's going on and being able to, you know, provide value with technology.
You know what was the coolest part about what you just mentioned, Angel?
Yes, was that
you're not have to have all the clunky equipment around your house to have cable TV anymore.
You don't.
All those boxes and wires and everything else. You don't need any of that.
It was so expensive. Broadband, you know, to get broadband is so expensive. That's why, you know, commercials, you know, all that stuff, and why, you know, network TV is so restrictive because just to get that signal, it's cost so much that these shows and stuff can't take a risk. So. You know, but with internet, I mean, you can basically do whatever you want. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's open though. Like Chris, I think brought a good point that it's allowing the little guy to be able to become as powerful as the big guy.
It's the wild west out here.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than how, you know, who would have said, let's say 20 years ago, give or take, you know, the word Google would have meant anything. Right. You know, who would have said, you know, 15 years ago, you know, 16 years ago, give or take. The word Facebook would have meant anything, you know, LinkedIn, you know, who nobody ever saw that, right? Yeah. But it enabled the little guy to become as powerful, and now they're a mega company, right? So sometimes I forget where they started, but you know, they all started small. You know, Hewlett-Packard started in the garage, Microsoft started in the garage, Apple started in the garage. They all started in the garage, you know.
Yeah, when I was in college, Coca-Cola was they said it was the most valuable brand out there. But then within like 10 years, you know, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, these data companies have become, and that's because of the data, they've become so more valuable. They say data is actually more valuable than oil right now. Being able to, it's crazy. Being able to, and that's the reason why these companies are so powerful. Amazon, when you purchase something on Amazon and then it says, you know, customers like you also purchase this or things like that, or on Netflix, if it says, you know, you may also want to watch this as well. And it's because they the data out there, they know you, and they know people like you will want to do the same thing. And that's how they're able to make so much money off of this stuff. Facebook, I mean, oh my God, especially during the elections. Yeah, that's some crazy stuff going on out there.
No doubt.
Yeah.
All right. So this is one of my favorite questions I wanted to ask Chris. What are the biggest marketing mistakes businesses are making?
So some of the biggest mistakes business can make is, for one, it's just not having a strategy. You can try to start doing ads and creating all this content and stuff, but it's like if you don't have a strategy and know who your brand is, who are the competitors, you know what I mean? Knowing, what's your messaging and things like that, and what direction you're trying to head in. You're kind of shooting yourself in the foot, and also wasting a lot of money as well. You know what I mean? Because you can end up targeting the wrong audience. You know what I mean? And also too, even just knowing who your audience is. You may think your audience is one, type of person, but it could be completely another type of person. You know what I mean? So having a strategy, asking yourself tough questions. And the reason why is because one of the hardest things for a business, or just even people, to do is see themselves objectively. You know what I mean? You may have an idea about who you are as a person or as a business, and you could think one way, but asking questions, doing surveys, even just asking your customers, it could reveal a lot more than things that you just don't even know. So, having a strategy, asking those questions about who your audience are, how are they buying, what is my digital footprint? Am I consistent across platforms? Do I, local directories out there, are they consistent? Things like that. What are my goals? You know what I mean? What are my goals as a business? And making sure all this stuff aligns up are very important questions. And just having a strategy and knowing that stuff. Some other things are, like I said before, just knowing your audience. Again, you can be thinking they're one type of group, but you could be it could be a completely different group. And like I was saying, it could save you a lot of cost, because you could spend a lot of money wasting trying to target a certain group of people, and the money could just be going out the window when your actual customers could be this. And I don't know if most people know, it goes to the 80-20 rule, that the majority of 80% of your business comes from 20% of your people. So
Yeah.
a lot of businesses spend the majority of their time trying to get new customers, new business, when they end up neglecting, the people who are the 20% of people who are actually already giving them business. So, nurturing them, making sure they're happy, and, feeding into them and things like that it could be a huge, huge benefit. And the last thing is just, we talked about technology. One of the benefits technology provides is being able to track, all this data we were talking about, whether it's, a customer gets onto your website, they're on your Facebook page, engaging with you and all this stuff. All this stuff can be tracked with data. So knowing that information, again, knowing your audience, knowing how they're buying, knowing what their pain points are, is a huge deal. And a lot of companies, because, apprehensive about technology, aren't even tracking. Some customers or businesses don't even know where their customers even come from. To them, it's just like a big guess, and that's a huge problem. But with tracking information on your website, on your Facebook page, knowing your insights, your analytics, you can really figure out exactly who these customers are, so you can better target them, better reach them, and better, speak to them. So those are some of the things that some of the biggest mistakes that businesses are making. I'm sure there's a lot more, but those are the basics.
I think the one that sticks out to me the most, and I can't stand this, is like you walk into, I use the dry cleaners as an example. You walk in there and they have a big sign and it says 10% off for new customers only.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because I was there the week before, I can't get the 10% off.
Yeah.
And or even better, I've been there 10 years and I don't get a discount even though I've been there 10 years.
I think one of the best businesses, best company. I used to work at CVS for a long time, and they are amazing when it comes to buyer retention. They are they have a coupon program that is amazing. I mean, it's gotten to a point where I've heard, because we have these crazy couponers who they've gotten to a point where they understand it almost like a game. It's to them, going to shop is almost like going to a casino, and CVS knows this. So when they make the purchase and they see those that costs go down, and then they see the receipts come out and get those extra bucks. It's almost like pulling the lever down on a what they call those things?
Slot machine.
Slot machine, yeah. And it's like, and it's in the whoever behind the promotions and the coupon program, they know this. They understand that. They understand what triggers buyers. And in fact, a lot of retail strategy have picked up ideas from casinos because they've been so good at, triggering customers and understanding how they buy, what gets them, and like the 10% off type stuff. And it's amazing, actually.
Yeah, no, it's great stuff. So Thomas Diebold said, great insight, Chris.
Thank you.
Tom is one of our referral partners at MobiPop. Thanks for that, Thomas. We appreciate it. All right. So you talked about all these platforms, Chris. Should a business be on every platform that's out there?
What I think is that businesses should, what I would do is start just, hopping on some of the platforms and figuring out which ones you're comfortable with. It's impossible to spend your resource on every single one. And some of them aren't even appropriate for what you're trying to do. So, hop on them and just start just playing around with it and see what do you like. And then also start following the type of businesses that you are as well. You know what I mean? If you are a law firm, being on Instagram and TikTok is probably not going to do you any good unless you're, super creative. But even if you are, your audience is probably not there anyway. It's more so probably LinkedIn, where it's more business to business type stuff. But if you are a restaurant, maybe Instagram is for you, posting certain deals and, promos, maybe taking pictures of every plate of food is something like that it could be beneficial to entice. Because, one thing you'll learn is that, these platforms, I always describe it just like going to a certain room or a party, and every party has its own type of scene, it has its own type of culture, its own type of language. And you won't know that until you get into each room and start figuring it out. Instagram is more visual based. Things like Pinterest are more visual based. But there's a lot of people doing business on, Pinterest and Instagram. You can benefit probably from all the platforms, but you need to figure out the one that's appropriate for you, appropriate for your business, and one that you're also comfortable with. You don't want to spend time and force yourself doing something that you're not comfortable with. You know what I mean? If you're not comfortable with writing, writing a blog is probably not for you. If you're not comfortable with taking pictures, that's probably not for you. If you're not comfortable on video, being on YouTube is probably not for you. You know what I mean? So find the ones that work for you and then be on that, you know what I mean? But obviously a lot of people are doing great business on YouTube or just with their blog or just on Instagram. Clubhouse is a new one that just popped up. I don't know if you guys have heard about Clubhouse. I'm on it practically every day. It's amazing.
What is it called?
It's called Clubhouse, and I think it's in beta right now. I think it just came out this year. And what it is like, it's basically audio conversations, and it's happening all live right now. People can basically hop into these rooms that anyone can create and just start conversations. And they have a setup where it's like you have moderators who are on the stage and they conduct questions, have conversations. And then you have the audience members. And then you can raise your hand and be invited up to ask a question. And then, they'll send you back to the audience. And some of these rooms I was on a room the other night, had over like 1,500 people listening to, because it was based on a TV show, and some of the actors that were on the TV show that ended like 10 years ago were on the stage asking questions, fan questions, and there was probably, when I hopped in, it was like 12,000, 1,500 people in this room, and I sat there, and they ran this room for like 6 hours. People were listening to some of this stuff, but it's really cool because the platform's open for everybody. So you see a lot of businesses, a lot of coaches in there providing value, helping people out with a lot of stuff. I've been in there, some of the rooms. It's just a really cool new platform. I'm wondering, it's still in beta. I'm sure there's still some things that could help out, but again, it's just it's a new cool room that's popped up on the scene that now everyone is like, going to. I heard about it. Now I'm telling you about it. I remember back in the Facebook days, it's the same thing happened. Facebook popped up, hey, what's this cool new thing? Everyone hears about it, they hop onto it, and now it has everyone's attention. They haven't figured out how to monetize it. But if you're a business and you are a coach, or if you are, something like that. You provide a bunch of value to your audience, and then you say, hey, go check out my Instagram, check out my link. And before you know it, now you have people onto your page signing up to whatever your business is. So it is a new way of doing business, but it's a huge, I love it, because what it seemed like it's done is taken kind of what COVID has done with Zoom calls, people getting into these rooms and now having these conversations, but it's taking it with mobile, but it's not visual, so you don't have to see anybody. So you can put yourself on mute, and it's all audio, so it's passive listening. You can be listening while doing other work, washing dishes. So it's just really a cool new thing. Again, I would say just hop on it, see what it's like, but I get a lot of benefit from learning. Not every, again, like we were just saying, if you're busy, you don't have to be on it, but I would just say, just check it out. It's kind of the new cool thing. I'm actually curious about Facebook and all these other platforms, how they're going to respond to this, because if you look at what happened with Vine, Instagram hopped on that real quick. If you look at things like Snapchat, Facebook hopped on that real quick, and they end up creating stories and all this stuff. And it's like, when they see competition, they jump on it real quick and say, you know what, we gotta deal with this issue. So yeah. I'm curious about how they're going to respond to this. They may not, but it is pretty cool. But that's my answer. Just figure out what platform is comfortable for you and appropriate, and then choose. And honestly, one or two are fine. If you're just on Facebook, LinkedIn, that's fine. You don't have to be on every single platform, because God, there's probably 15, 20 out there. It's crazy.
Yeah, and counting. Keeps going.
Absolutely.
So a lot of people, I hear it all the time, so you must hear it, mega times. Does a business need a Facebook business page?
Absolutely. I don't know if you remember early 2000s, you had to have a website. If you didn't have a website, it was like, what's wrong with you? Today, you still need a website, because it's the hub of everything, especially if you're like an e-commerce business. But be surprised, these platforms, these distribution channels, your Pinterest, your Instagrams, your Facebooks, your LinkedIns, your YouTubes, all these out there, your TikToks, that's where everyone is. That's where they're hanging out. Mm-hmm. So what you want to do is have a Facebook page, because believe it or not, people still, I know me, when I find a business, one of the first, your website is going to be the professional presentation, but when I want to see insight of what a company really is and the people behind the scenes, I go to their Facebook page, me personally. I want to see, what their photo, because you're not going to put, you could, but you're not going to put like photos of your team, doing crazy stuff on your website. That's where Facebook is probably the place for that, or Instagram. So that's where I go for that. And I want to see that, because, it's about building trust. People don't do business with people they don't trust. So Facebook is another added thing for that. So you want to provide that kind of content and just updates. It's a quick, because of the timeline feature of these platforms, it becomes just a quick, it doesn't cost much to consume a timeline. It's just a quick little click through, but it's important to have that online presence. So of anything else, LinkedIn is important, I would say, for business to business, but at the basic, even if you don't have a website, you have to have a Facebook page. Whether you're a restaurant, because you can do cool things like post your hours. If you're a salon, you can post the hours, and just different cool things. Happy New Year's. Happy stuff like that. So I definitely think it's important to have a Facebook page. Absolutely.
Awesome, and we'll save it for another time. But I love the debate between setting up a Facebook group or a Facebook page. Right?
Well, yeah. I need to probably go
for another time.
Yeah.
That's always a big debate. Which one is better? Should I do both? Do I need both? But we'll save that for the next time we have you guys on.
For sure.
To finish up, Chris, what are some ways businesses can bring in more business through marketing? What would you suggest?
I think the biggest thing that most people do not take advantage of what these platforms are with social media is the conversations. They say, conversation is I always say content is king, but conversation is king. Most businesses, believe it or not, really aren't communicating with their audience. You know what I mean? Asking questions, figuring out what they want, what they like. You know what I mean? We just talked about how everyone's trying to get new business, but there's a conversation happening around probably your business, your industry, that people, if you're a business, you want to be a part of that conversation. You know what I mean? You want to be in there asking questions, figuring out some of these customers' pain points. You know what I mean? And the biggest thing is just not asking questions and engaging. You know what I mean? A company would want to be on Facebook and all they care about is likes. You know what I mean? It's like, honestly, you can buy likes. I mean, I've known businesses who have done that. I mean, have 1 million likes, 1 million followers, but it's like they're all bought. You know what I mean? It's all through, I don't even how they do it, but same thing with Instagram. But talking to people is everything. I don't know if you guys have heard of Gary Vee, but that's one of the ways he was able. You heard of Gary Vee?
Of course.
Okay, so that's how he was able to build his business, just conversation. He took the time and asked, and answered every person's question on Twitter. And that's how
he still does it. He still does it today.
It's a lot of work, but the benefit you get from it, because you'd be surprised. People want to hear from, and there's a lot of them surprised, like, wow, I didn't know you would actually even answer me. You know what I mean? Yeah. So many people, I mean, it's when we talk about groups. I've been in part of some filmmaker groups, and I've asked questions, and I'm telling you, the amount of comments that I've generated, over like 300, sometimes 400, just asking one question, because people just jump in there. They want to give their opinions, and you can take advantage of that. You know what I mean? Sometimes you could be like, hey, you had a question after this. Let me drop a link, and maybe that link leads to your website or something. You know what I mean? Then boom, you got business. And then 50 more people see that, so a lot of business just do not engage with their customers. They kind of just, they have them, but they just neglect them, really. And it's kind of sad. So conversations, asking questions, answering questions is a huge deal, and how you can generate more business, as a business.
I think that's one of the biggest things that we find, is that people don't really care anymore. I think that's one of the problems that we have, that we're there for the money. And I think that when you have trust, like Chris said, when you build that trust, when you ask the question, no question is a dumb question. We get taught that in the military. No question is a dumb question, because it might sound dumb to you or somebody else, but somebody that doesn't know, it's not dumb, right? Because they're looking for that knowledge. And you guys have heard the term "time is money," right? But knowledge is money too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, consumers are not paying for the time; they're paying for what you know. It's that knowledge that you have that is able to get them that reach that they can't do on their own. So, being able to care for the business, being able to understand the business, being able to reach them where they really need to be reached, those are the things that add value to any organization. And I think that's why we've been successful, is because we've been able to not just come in and say, hey, we're here to get your, do your marketing for you, or do your IT for you, or do your business for you, whatever whatever service we're going to provide. We're here to build a relationship, and I learned this from interesting enough from a billionaire that I met personally, which is a privilege, and very down to earth guy. He's in his 80s, and he was an actual Army lieutenant back in the 60s, I think, and so to get to meet him and see how he approaches. He just wanted to get to know me. Like, he didn't, it wasn't about business. It wasn't about this. It was about to build that relationship to see where it could go from there. Yeah. And it really, that's what it boils down to, because, even if you don't do business with me, you'll tell somebody about me, right? Yeah. Even if I build that trust with you, I look at marketing, I look at IT, any business really that gets involved into an organization. I look at it as you're looking into somebody's underwear drawer, and it's as sad as weird as that may sound. It's the truth, because we get to see everything, especially in IT. We get to know the truth, but businesses trust that we can keep that stuff to ourselves and keep it private.
Right.
And then you can't put money on that. You have to be able to gain that trust and earn that trust to be able to deliver a good product.
Yeah, and just understand that, people out there have questions, a lot of questions. Google has made $1 billion because of that, with their keyword search. So they know that people are hopping on Google trying to get questions and queries answered. So they made a business model off of selling keyword searches, and you know what I mean. So just know that people out there want information. If you are a business and if you aren't providing that information through content and engagement, then you're really missing out on a huge opportunity.
It's one, you know, man, this is for another topic, but we recently launched My Tech Hunter, and I would love to get an episode with that about that, because it's geared towards what Chris just mentioned, information.
Yeah.
Right. Information is king. You know, data is king. You know, it's key to the success of a lot of organizations. So it definitely helps the consumer stay informed, be informed, get better solutions, get better results. You know, all around, just do everything better.
Awesome, guys. This has been fantastic. It's everything I expected. I appreciate you guys doing it at the last minute too.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And before we jump, all right, Angel, tell us top 2 things every business should be doing now for their business with IT. Top 2 things.
Top 2 things, man. You had to put me in a spot, huh? That was not part of the question. It's a good one though. I think security is number 1. That's become a very, very important thing.
Cybersecurity.
Not just cyber, any type of security, because you have different layers of security, but technology security, technical security.
Okay.
And number 2, studying what technology can benefit you on. Try to get that information, or how can you benefit from technology? Because I know that we all can, right? Technology can be used for good as well as for evil, as we well know, right? But if you use it for good, you can get some stuff done. You really can accomplish a lot for your business, for yourself, save you time, automate things, be able to task out, not have to be having meetings every day, having to walk into an office all the time. You could be actually doing something and then, take 30 minutes to have your meeting and not have to drive 30 minutes or an hour to get to an office, and so forth and so on. So you can definitely leverage technology to benefit your business.
Awesome. All right, flip it over to Chris. Top 2 marketing things a business should do starting tomorrow.
Email marketing.
Okay.
Facebook ads.
And kind of goes together too, right?
Yes. Because now Facebook platform, they make money off of your ads. So they, 30% of organic posts are seen. So they want you to pay for ads. So spend money on Facebook is still pretty cheap compared to a $4,000 billboard, right? And think of Facebook ads as online billboards.
Yep.
And here's the most important thing to tell you. If you're not showing up on someone's timeline, you don't exist as a business. Absolutely. Anybody's timeline, whether it's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, show up on someone's timeline. If they don't see you, you don't exist as a business online. But email as well, because once you get them off of those platforms onto your website, now you can continue to communicate. Because God forbid, I know no one thinks about this, but say, for example, Facebook ended one day. Say, for example, TikTok ended one day. Vine ended. MySpace ended. And if your 1 million followers are still on those platforms, you're screwed. So get them off of those platforms into your email. That way you can continue communicating with them. So business emails and pay for Facebook ads.
Awesome.
You gotta pay to play these days. So.
Well, it's been great having you guys. If you guys out there have questions, we've got the dream team right here. So you can reach these guys. You can go to pharusglobal.com. You can find us there. 772-223-3344. We'll get you in contact with Angel and Chris and get you guys up and running. I will say there was one scary part about this entire show tonight. You know what that was?
What's that?
No.
Having Ray Liotta and Joe Pesci staring at me the entire time. That was pretty scary back there.
Yes. Yeah,
intimidating. No wonder you were blinking so much.
I didn't know if I should go like this or what.
On the other side, I have a casino, so that's my other.
Oh, that's even better. I love it.
Oh man,
good movie.
We'll see them again.
Yes, my
Yeah,
favorite movie.
yeah, absolutely.
All
All right,
Thank you for
guys.
having us, Brian.
We appreciate you guys spending time here, and definitely looking forward to continuing to work with you guys in the future. IT and marketing, everybody, you need it, give us a ring. We'll get you in touch with everybody. Thank you very much, guys. Have a great night.
Talk soon.
Thank you. Have a good one.